Today on the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, we have a commissioned episode coming to you where we are talking about how the mutants can get into the MCU as we know it. We'll break all that down and more after that. We have no control, no ads, because wait a minute, hold on.
No, wait, there are ads.
There are ads? Okay, still ads.
We still getting paid.
Still making that shit right. All that and more after that we have no control over.
Welcome to the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. My name is Matthew Carroll.
And I'm Jeff Randall.
And in our producer chair, we have the lovely Ashley Coffin. How you doing, Ash?
I'm fantastic. How are you guys?
Fantastico.
Fantastico.
I'm pretty good. Little stressed, a little busy, but it's good. It's good.
I'm riding that wave, man.
You're riding the wave? What wave is that?
Yeah, I'm riding that stress wave. I'm using it to get to the manic state.
That's right. Let's just get real manic here today.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing. I figure if I get real manic, then I can just get everything done.
Yeah, that's normally how it works. It doesn't reduce the quality of what you're doing or anything. It just
not at all.
Just get better the more manic you are. That's what I've always heard.
I think
you can actually achieve more when you become manic.
Sleep?
Oh yeah.
Who sleeps?
No one needs sleep.
Not this guy. Especially.
Okay, well today we're doing something special we haven't been able to do for a while because we had so much content, which has been chef's kiss, a blessing, wonderful. But on this break, we're trying to do as many commissioned episodes as possible. And we have one today from Jack Palexny and his fiance Ariel. Actually, they were talking about this and they wanted to cover it. They said a topic we both think would be interesting is, what are your theories on how the X-Men will be brought into the MCU? A side comment, how would Zemo respond to Magneto's ideas that mutants are the supreme race in his mind?
Supreme leader? Oh no, wait, that's Ash.
That's Ash. That's Ash. She's supreme.
You called?
So this is I feel like this is a question that we have gone over and over and over again, but
For sure.
I am more than willing to have this discussion again because it's a great topic. And it's definitely something that's on all of our collective minds as we move forward in the MCU and get closer, like especially after the Fox merger, like acquiring Fox has all this is possible now. Any of these things are possible. Now it's like, okay, but how?
Right. We've been saying it for years. Like, how could they do it? How could they do it? But now it's like, it's going to happen. Like, they say the mutants are coming this phase. Like, what's going to happen? So let's, we broke it down into 3 categories, and we're basically just going to bring up each category and sort of just like spin through whatever comes to mind, all the different things we talked about, and sort of try to give ourselves, and the sort of pros and cons of each of these areas. So, first one is, I think, they've always been here. They've always been a part of the MCU. We just don't know them, which has been something that's been discussed, like maybe Project Insight, all those thousands of, possible targets. Some of them may have been mutants,
Yeah. And I feel like I kind of hate that one. Because if these people have been there, if the X-Men have been there, if Xavier's been there, like this whole time, like where were they during the invasion in New York? Where were they during the fight with Thanos? Where were they for Ultron?
The question kind of starts like, when did mutants start? So we think somewhere in the late 1930s. And what started it technically? Do we even have a start point? So like, what's to say that anomaly doesn't start now?
Right. That's another good question. Is that I think
so much cosmic energy has just been
that asks the question: how much of the history of mutants are we bringing in? Like, how much is getting folded into this? It's like a souffle. You got to.
We can go back to Apocalypse.
Oh God, that's not.
Well, and actually, what you're saying there is actually the opposite, or it's one of the other 3 that we're going to get to. But like this version is that if they've always been here. So like I'm assuming
just like the whole time.
Yeah, they've always been here. There isn't necessarily an event, and there may be an event way back in history. But mutants are descendants of whatever Apocalypse or whoever that is from the past that like has this X gene has been a part of the human story for a long time, and it's now maybe being proliferated more, or maybe it's becoming public, I guess, is the sort of storyline. that the comics have?
I don't love it.
The comics have it as the X gene was kind of triggered or created by the Celestials at like kind of the same divergent point that the Eternals were made. So like the Eternals and the Deviants and the human race were split off from one race. I guess it was the originator or whatever.
That's a made up word.
Yeah. The human race has a tendency to evolve faster, and that's what the X gene was about. So that's why mutants became a thing. But that's how it is in comics. I don't know if they're going to do that, but they could introduce them this year with that kind of story.
That's a good point.
With that precedent with the Eternals.
Yeah, well, and this one we're talking about, if they've been here all along, this would be the time to introduce that idea, is that, yes, with Eternals, this is it. Yeah, that's a great point.
Yeah.
Oh man, and thinking about that, if they've been here all along, like the question, like that's always begged the question, why haven't they shown up in these like big global fights? Why haven't they shown up to defend New York? Whatever, yada yada.
Right.
But we've always seen that there's a kind of a dichotomy, a butting heads between Xavier and Magneto, or Eric Lenscher, whatever his name is, Magnus, as they call him in the comics. There's always been that clash of ideals of how to deal with people or how to deal with the humans, the normal humans, Homo sapiens. What if the clash of ideals is now coming to be like, we should stay hidden or we should help people? Like we should stay hidden versus we should get out there and help people. Yeah. And like they've been there all along, but because they've always followed the mantra of like, stay hidden, don't help.
You'd think that they would have come out after New York at least.
You would think.
And then London. They're like, you know what? They figured all that out. Now we're here to die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, those kinds of events are like, it could be like, the first one was like, well, that was weird. I hope it doesn't happen again.
But it happened a couple more times.
And then it happened a couple more times.
And then a couple more.
Maybe now they're just like, we got to get out there because, like, damn
after the problem is solved.
Right? Like, Thanos happened. We could have done something about it.
Yeah, we'll make sure.
Well, and it's also a story we've got, like, with Wakanda as a similar thing. Like, and maybe you go back with Wakanda, with the Ancient One. These are all things that, like, they were active during those times. We just didn't know about it. So like, there's absolutely a possibility we could get a scene from New York and see like some mutants doing their thing. Maybe they're into hiding, and then you've got these two forces of Professor X and Magneto. One who says it's time for us to take our rightful place and like rule them, and one that's saying, it's time for us to help them.
Yeah, there's enough.
Oh, there it is.
There's enough soups out there that we can take over.
No, here it is. So you get a movie, these two men, they're trying to convince the mutant community to go public, right? Like that's their whole thing. They both want to go public. They both think it's time to go public. They fight for that. They decide to go public together. They defeat whoever they need to defeat. They go public, but then they realize their visions of going public are very, very different. You know what I mean? It's like one wants to
Magneto has this idea of like, all of you idiots you're obviously screwing up the world, and you need to be ruled by us who are more powerful, more suited.
Yeah. That's why I love Magneto. He's my favorite.
And then Xavier, butts up against that with, we shouldn't be ruling them. We should be working with them. Yeah. But then you throw in that other part of this question that we have been posed, or that we've been delivered. What would Zemo think?
Yeah.
Like Zemo hates all of them because they're super, but
it's different.
Like
they're born with it. Like maybe it's Maybelline, or they're born with it.
Right. Well, and that's
it wasn't mixed
I put on
together.
My eye makeup so that I have eye lasers. That's I put on the hand makeup so that I have claws.
Yeah, because technically, if you're born with it, you are.
Can we
the next step?
Yeah, you're not a super soldier at that point.
You're not a super soldier. It's not a choice you made, but it is still. Ooh. I mean, definitely Magneto is choosing supremacy.
Yeah.
I think Zemo and Magneto would be friends.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I don't know about that.
I
think they are polar opposites.
I think that he's on that opposite end of like, you're super and you want to lead.
Stop messing up my fantasy.
You're being an oppressor.
She's like,
I think
I've seen both of them on private jets in 2 different movies. I'm just thinking about it. Champagne and caviar.
Yeah, but that's the thing. The private jet guy, the guy who owns the private jet is Professor X,
Xavier,
right?
Yeah.
Nah, the Blackbird, yeah.
But I mean, in that movie, Professor X is the rich one, and Eric is not, right? Or I don't know.
Yeah,
I feel like
no, that's accurate.
Yeah.
Because
Xavier's always been wealthy. What a posh.
Right.
Yeah. Xavier comes from the rich family.
Yeah.
But if Xavier is the rich one and he feels that people should work with the mutants, like they should work together, think of like Xavier and Zemo were to work together. Like what kind of power struggle would that create? In that, like, Zemo just hates super people, but he hates the people that I guess created themselves as super, like
right. That's
the people that step up, I guess.
Yeah, that's the question. Would Zemo feel?
I don't think Charles would work with him.
I feel like Charles would have that empathy. He would have that ability to work with Zemo, even though
he could read his mind.
Well, yeah, but he knows the ideas that Zemo has, but like he sees the good. He sees the good ideals in there, and maybe doesn't want to immediately lock him up.
Right. It's that interesting thing of like you can align on one thing, but then you're completely apart on another, and so it brings you together for certain fights and apart for others. Like just like we were talking about as that our little story we made up where they both want to go public and then suddenly they don't, or they want very different things. And Zemo and Charles could come together and be like, we got to stop Magneto. He's such a supremacist. And then once that's over, he's like, okay, now we have to stop the X-Men. Then now Zemo wants to kill all the X-Men too. Like
now that those are out of the way, let's get these guys. Look at hey, whoa.
But he would know that plan was coming. He couldn't keep it from him.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
Well,
maybe
if it's a plan, well, it could be that
Zemo's always 3 steps ahead, but if he could read his mind.
It could be there's no team yet. You know what I mean? It could be a deception. Yeah. Well, I guess that's the thing you can't do.
You can't deceive Charles Xavier unless you're Magneto with the helm.
The mask, that purple mask, has the anti-mind reading thing built into it.
Yeah, totally. So there's
I'm just thinking, like, what if the two of them got their, like, pooled their money together and made, like, or they got themselves
together.
They became Batman.
They got themselves an even bigger jet.
So rich.
Like an even bigger private jet.
How big?
So big.
I ain't seeing shit gold there.
How many shoes?
All of them.
How many shoes? Okay, the other thing that could happen. Let's get into the second one because that we've spent a lot of time on. They could always be here. One of the big things they could do is incursions of some sort from other universes. Which this seems like it's a big possibility
with multiverse.
It's just the easy way to do it.
Well, yeah. They're definitely toying with the multiverse. They've already. We know they're bringing Deadpool in now. He may be this universe's Deadpool and just reference the fact that he remembers the other movies, even though he shouldn't. You know what I mean? Like, because he can do that.
Oh, that would be so good.
Yeah. It would be so good if he's just the new Deadpool, and you're like, yeah, back when I was in the Fox universe, like he could just say that, and it'd just be so much fun.
And people in the universe would be like, "What the hell are you talking about?"
Yeah, exactly. Normally they don't really respond to him. He's just sort of talking to camera. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Great.
I love that part of the incursions idea because Deadpool, especially that Deadpool, is just so much fun.
Well, and that wouldn't even have to be incursion. He could just be our Deadpool,
and he could just show up.
Well, yeah, he could just show up as Deadpool from this universe, from the MCU. But then he also would be able to talk about the other versions of the Deadpool movies 1 and 2 that came out in theaters because he knows about them.
So this is also Deadpool's been there all along.
Yeah, the version I'm talking about is Deadpool's been there all along as well.
So if we had crossover from the other universe, if we had incursions, like we would have the benefit of good Deadpool, like fun Deadpool. We would have the detriment of bad everything else crossing over.
Right.
If they were to specifically use the existing Fox properties, now they could still do incursions and have like a different verse entirely is what came over, and like, you know, just kind of bank on sort of like Spider-Man, you know, you bank on the public understanding of how mutants exist and just like who everybody is kind of existing already.
Yeah. That could work.
Has Marvel Studios built up that amount of good faith though?
They definitely have. I would go with them on that journey, but it's the thing that I always rail against DC for, which is not taking the time to build the characters. You know what I mean? And not just DC. Lots
Show
of
me
things.
why these characters are characters I should care about.
Just because it's Batman, that's not the Batman I grew up with. That's not Adam West. That's not Michael Keaton. Show me.
Certainly not George Clooney.
Right. So show me why this Batman is a good person to be followed. And if you can't do that, then like, I don't know. It's just you have to you can't skip steps when it comes to these movies. You have to actually like produce characters that we care about.
Yep. That's why I'm excited about TV shows. Cause like,
me too.
You've got time.
Bam,
yeah.
You've got time to really, really build those meaty characters.
Yeah, I care so much about Jimmy Woo now. Like I liked Jimmy Woo. He was a great side character, and now I like care about him because he's been through so much more. And Darcy and these side characters. It's great.
Like now I want the Hex Files because Jimmy Woo.
Me too.
So Waterfall Angel in the Twitch chat has a great thing that they brought up. Can you imagine Deadpool showing up in Loki because of his time travel shenanigans? If Deadpool showed up in the TVA as a problem, because of all his time travel shit at the end of 2,
it would link it right in.
It'd be so easy to just be like, there he is because of that.
It's like Marvel. It's literally laid in front of you. Just do it.
It's there. Just take the bait. Just eat it.
It'd be pretty great.
Yeah.
If like the post-credit sequence, you guys saw the trailer that dropped on about Loki today, right? Where it shows the guy getting zapped and like dematerialized.
Yeah, and just completely dusting him.
It shows the TVA like what they do, I guess, when they judge someone not to be worthy of existing, and it shows a guy getting zapped and like destroyed. I guess zapped out of existence. So like, what if the post-credit sequence of Deadpool or of Loki is Deadpool showing up with the thing on his wrist that he's been jumping through time. He just shot himself in the head while he's writing the Green Lantern script, all that stuff. He jumps into the like future and he's like, all right, back to my time. And then the TVA steps in and just destroys him. And he like evaporates, and then the Deadpool from MCU universe like picks up the dust and's like, I don't know, like massages himself with Deadpool dust or something.
Oh, that's gross.
Weirdly gross.
I love it. I love it so much.
He would do that.
He would, and it would be like the new Deadpool, but clearly knows about the old Deadpool. I don't know.
That would be really funny.
I would love it.
Oh man, we could potentially get like. Deadpool kills the Marvel universe with that. Like, Deadpool shows up in the TVA just like soaked and drenched in blood.
Is he the one attacking the TVA?
Oh, that's great.
Yes, that would be amazing.
That's the one. That's it.
He's like, we gotta get out of here.
How have we lost that?
How freaking amazing would it be if, like, by episode 2, the Loki show is Loki and Deadpool? Like, we've already seen them change the title of a show at the end. Like, what if you get to episode 2, he unmasks whoever is going around killing the TVA, and it's Deadpool, and he's, like, already killed he's already killed the Fox universe, except for some reason Quicksilver blipped away at the last second. And
it's like, he unmasks him, and he's like, where's Francis?
Where's Francis? So good.
I don't know who that is.
I just need them to bring Michael Fassbender over and I'll be fine.
Yeah, that's the thing. Yes, Michael Fassbender would be amazing.
Perfect. I know everybody has amazing ideas for Magneto, but it's already been perfected. As he says. Perfection.
Yep.
How many years has he been Magneto? It feels like a while now. Like,
jeez.
Oh yeah, when was First Class?
2006. 2009? I don't know.
Ooh, so
I don't know time.
so he did-
What's time?
What is
that
time?
version of the verse was like, almost 10 years, whatever. So it's ripe for a reboot, but it's 2011. So,
imagine
probably
him
lasted
in
8 or 9
like
years.
a Feige helmed.
I know.
Favreau directed.
Dude, I want Favreau to come back. Right. He directed, he set the tone for the whole thing. I would love to see Favreau come back and do something in verse.
I'm not sure that Favreau would be the right choice for X-Men, because you've got to have a really good ensemble director.
What about a Magneto movie?
Well, if it was just a
Starring
Magneto
Michael
movie, oh
Fassbender.
my lord. If it was just a Magneto movie with Jon Favreau directing, hell yeah.
Yeah, he'd be
100%.
stylish as hell. Like, just dripping with style. I would love that.
Dripping, he says. While we're talking about Michael
Tell me
Fassbender.
more.
We're
Tell
talking
me
about
more.
dripping. So, what other thoughts do we have about incursions in MCU verse that we can?
Well, I mean
It's so easy.
The precedent is set for multiversal incursions because the Loki show is showing us that the timeline is splitting. We're seeing a lot of multiverse type things with What If. Multiverse of Madness is coming up with Doctor Strange. It's all there. Plus, they already referenced, in a meta way, the Quicksilver of the Foxverse with
there's
WandaVision.
that's not a mistake. And it's a boner joke, sure, but there've been rumors.
We know what you did. Yeah, we see what you did.
Right. There've been rumors.
We're looking at you, Marvel.
Yeah.
That there was more to that. There's been rumors. Now we don't know if it's true or not. That may be all we ever hear from Mr. Boner.
We're gonna breeze right past it, Ashley.
Okay.
Okay. The last way that the X-Men could be introduced is an event that activates the X gene. We've also heard this a whole lot over the months of talking about how this could work. A lot of people say the snap could activate the X gene, or the multiple snaps.
Or something
4
like
snaps
8A.
within 5 years?
Yeah, was it that many?
Well, it was the one snap to kill everybody, or to kill half.
Right.
It's
The
3.
other snap
4.
to destroy the stones.
One snap to bind them. I got it.
Yeah, one snap from Hulk to bring everybody back, and then a snap
And in
from
the
Tony,
darkness.
and the snap from Tony to make Thanos go away. So that's 4 snaps in 5 years.
Wow. Yeah.
If there was radiation problems, from the stones being used like that, you're damn sure going to see them on Earth at that point.
Yeah. Yeah. It's true.
3 of those 4 events were on Earth.
There's Earth mutants, and then there's whatever on his little farm planet. There's
that's where Beta Ray Bill comes from, obviously.
There's crazy mutant plants all over the place now.
That's where Groot came from.
They're like, pew, 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 pew.
Groot is a time traveler from
Atomic asparagus.
and then that's how we get a Little Shop of Horrors crossover we've all been wanting.
Yeah, that's
What a journey.
what
a journey we've gone on. So that means we get Rick Moranis back, right?
Yeah.
What do you mean
Love
back?
him.
What am I talking about?
Back in the verse, man.
Yeah.
So the other idea is Wanda, also all of the things that she's done could somehow cause X-Men.
Opening her hex,
I
leaked
like
out
that.
radiation.
Right.
It's all radiation.
House
based,
of M
right?
in reverse is a great idea, and
If you think she gave Pietro powers,
right,
it definitely pans out.
especially if Pietro is somehow Pietro from another universe. It really could pan out. It could be that she grabbed him from another universe, gave him this fake identity to be or whatever, turned him into Quicksilver, and then so that's on a micro scale, right? This is just when she's dealing with the one town, but then we know the multiverse of madness. Seems like she's doing bigger things. She's going multiversal in a real way, and some big event happens there that could cause it on a global scale. So
That's so messed up. I'm thinking of how messed up it would be to grab somebody from another verse, like from another part of the multiverse, and be like, "You're gonna be my brother.
You live here now."
Yeah, like that's so just not cool.
Yeah,
like
I don't know how it lines up with the idea that Agatha was controlling him. All that stuff. Like it's weird. It's weird if somehow he is Quicksilver and not just Mr. Boner.
Just Mr. Boner. Yeah, that one's, I don't know. I feel like that one, this whole thing of, an event activating the X gene, it kind of goes along the Inhumans route.
Right.
In that, like it takes an outside thing to activate them and kind of goes along the Terrigen bomb aspect.
Which is how Ms. Marvel gets her powers.
It is how Ms. Marvel gets her powers.
Does DS Mom come out before Ms. Marvel or after?
Next year.
Is that what we're calling it?
Ms. Marvel is this year.
We've called it that. We called that sometimes. Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness.
I had to think about it for a second. I thought it was Mom.
We also call it. I call it Mom.
Dis Mom Machina.
Yeah,
DS Mom.
Dis Mom Ex Machina.
It just gets longer and longer.
That's where Doctor Strange just kind of like shows up to fix things.
Yeah,
it's the DS Mom Ex Machina.
Rewind that word back for you idiots.
I actually really like DS Mom spelled like DIES. It's really good.
DS Mom.
DS Mom.
DS Mom.
DS Mom.
It has evolved.
Des Max Momskina? No, that's dumb.
Nah, it's all dumb.
We're not there yet.
It's all dumb.
So the pros of that are we could keep the contiguous universe. No, we wouldn't have to bring in outside universes. We would be able to keep the story. We wouldn't have to deal with like weird time travel shenanigans, changing everything. But they're going multiversal. The question is, anytime you go multiversal, it feels like it reduces stakes. And that's the thing that I think we're all nervous about with this whole multiverse thing, right? Like,
yeah.
If you start going multiversal, you could, do the thing.
Everything.
Right. Or.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you die here, I can go get another one of you.
Yeah.
Right.
Unless you're Nat.
Yeah. She's the only one we just let die. Yep. We bring Gamora back. Everybody else we got to bring back. Not Nat.
What's that one quote that said, I forget who said, like, who's the one person you can't bring back? And it's like Uncle Ben. Can't bring back Uncle Ben. But what if he has the chance though, what if we finally get the Uncle Ben story in No Way Home because he tries to undo.
Changed. It gets changed. They change one more day to One More Day with Uncle Ben.
And then he just gets hit by a car.
You say that laughing. That sounds amazing to me. That sounds like it could be really good.
It could be really good.
Like
if One More Day was Mary Jane.
I know, but what if he did it for his aunt? Like, or did it for himself and his aunt?
Depends which Peter he's thinking with at the moment.
I don't know. Like his aunt has.
Sorry.
His aunt and Happy Hogan are kind of hitting it off there.
I know, they're so cute.
They're cute together, and like you see how like whenever they're in the same room, they're like all just like, oh, I don't know how to act around you because I like you.
Yeah.
It's
for
cute.
sure.
They're bashful.
So, is there anything else we want to say about an event that activates it? I think the one thing that it undercuts it is the idea of the X-Men being like this X gene being a part of our evolution and just being unstoppable. Right. It's a big part of the Magneto character, at least, in that like we're just the next part of the evolution. Like you guys are Neanderthals. Like you're done. You know what I mean?
How dare you, sir?
How very dare you? Yeah, it undercuts the way that the X-Men are in comics of the next step. It also undercuts excuse me. It also kind of appropriates the way that the Inhumans come about. Yeah. And kind of eliminates them from the possibility of being done better in the future, not being all bucked up, if you will.
Yeah, which is a way
box.
in some ways is exactly what Marvel always does, like sort of combines stories and like mixes things together. But those are some pretty big stories to like sort of truncate and move around.
Yeah, they do that with characters, not like races of people.
Right. But well, you say that. I'm trying to remember the ones because I don't know them very well, but it seems like some of the like bigger like celestial level beings, they sort of just like put them together. And we've talked about the possibility that they might be combining like the Living Tribunal with something else, or I don't know if there's a good
like
example.
the Timekeepers and the Living Tribunal.
Right. Like they do things where they not necessarily they say it on screen, they make them the same, but they like take a concept from one race and put it in another, and they sort of like move things around. And I don't think that's a problem, but that's a pretty big one to do. And the problem is they started without the rights. So now they have to make a decision. And none of these three options are great. Like none of these three options leave us with the verse that has always existed in Marvel Comics, you know?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Unless there's some sort of actual crisis which undoes things, but then you deal with like, what verse are we even in? You know what I mean? That's a bummer.
Yeah. I mean, you could end up with a, like the way that they brought about All New, All Different in 2014, I think it was, where there was the Battle World, which is the events of Secret Wars led to that. Doom made himself God Emperor because he got the powers of the Beyonder, and kind of like smashed together a bunch of parts of the multiverse into the Battle World, and then Franklin Richards undoes that and kind of remakes reality into this all different thing where like Miles Morales from the Ultimate Verse got brought into the main continuity. He's Spider-Man now. And all these other characters who, were a particular way in some of the continuity were, a new, and all new, all different way. And that's how they got like, Sam Wilson was Captain America after that, and Jane Foster Thor came about as the primary Thor again, like as part of that. And like there was a Thor Corps that was involved. Like there was a lot of implications as part of that. It would be really, really crazy for that to be the thing, though.
Right. Anything that they just like create a new universe from whole cloth, it's just going to be like, are we
does anything from the past verse even matter at that point?
That's the question. That's what's going to be difficult.
Did the decade of movies we've already like come to love and know even do anything? Like, does that matter to this going forward?
Yeah.
It matters to me.
It has to.
I think as long as the characters persist, like as long as the characters we know and love persist, it does. But it's nice to be able to have a conversation with like a dude on the street and be like, remember 2012 when the Chitauri attacked, Like that kind of stuff is important to me. That's the nerdiest I think I've ever sounded about talking about
it sounded
Marvel.
really real and really natural. You're totally fine.
Yeah,
I know.
It felt like you were part of the Daredevil universe.
Fine.
Like
Exactly.
Netflix right there.
No, I just as a Star Trek fan, we often talk about like the things that are important to us and this stuff, and we're like, no, it's important to me that Kirk took out the, whatever.
I think we're there.
Like, it's a very specific race on this very specific planet. And then I said that out loud.
High fives, everybody.
Oh, wow, we're getting there with Marvel, where like there's such a large amount of things that are important to us. Yeah, it's who we are. I freaking love it. That is about all we're going to discuss the X-Men today.
You did good.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much, Jack and Ariel, for the commissioned episode. And if you would like to be a patron at the $3 level, $3 per episode, we do commissioned episodes. We try to rotate through the rotation of people that are $3 patrons. And anytime you send in a commissioned episode, we try to get to them in order. But we never charge once a week. So it's once per episode. But if we do 3 episodes in a week, you only get charged once. So if you are one of those people out there who have not joined our Patreon yet, it's patreon.com/MCUcast. By the way, a lot of people have been joining, and it has been incredibly helpful for us being able to grow as a show. So thank you, all the patrons, and specifically Jack and Ariel. Thank you guys. Thanks, guys. We'll be back soon. Peace.
Until next time, true believers.
Bye.
Thank you for joining us for the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast, available everywhere you get podcasts, and now a video version streaming live on twitch.tv/strandedpandatv and available at youtube.com/strandedpanda. And if you'd like to learn more about all of our other podcasts, geeky projects, and ways to support the network, visit strandedpanda.com.